Okay, so one of the problems I have with software development is how easy it looks, right? You see these overnight successes, or you have an application where you start to code a little bit, you think, oh, this is going to be hugely successful, and then you put it on the app market, or you put it out there into the world, or you set up your SaaS or whatever, and it doesn't take off right away. And it can be frustrating because you see other things that just, they do really well, really fast. And it starts to make software development look easy, like, but for those of us who worked in it for a while, we know that that's not the case. You have to do the work. You have to put in the reps. You have to pay your dues. That's what I want to talk about today from Nice in southern France. This is Overpass Insights. My name is Eric, and I make apps. All right, so today I'm coming to you from the city of Nice in southern France on the French Riviera, and my goodness, it is beautiful here. I mean, you got the blue sea, you got the waves. It's very windy today, but it's it's really nice and warm, which is great for the end of September, and I just love it. So at this stage in my life, what I'm trying to do is go to a new place every month, like at least over the weekend, but sometimes it might be for a week, and maybe I'll take the laptop and work there. But it's just something I've been able to do now that my kids have all grown up, and I just have a lot more freedom than I had. And one of the, but as a contrast, I mean, this is beautiful here, but last weekend I was in Blackpool in England. And if you've never been there, it's like it's a seaside town in England, which, it used to be huge, but now it's a bit run down and everything. And it's totally different than this, but it was still a lot of fun. I had a great time. Anyway, so one of the reasons I can do this is because that's one of the ways I wanted my life to be. As my kids started to get older, I thought, you know what? One day I want to get to the point where I could just travel all the time. And ideally, I'll get to that point. I've talked about in the videos before where I'm just a digital nomad, where I'm just always on the go. But for now, it's like a weekend here, weekend there, maybe go for a week and all this kind of stuff. And the reason I'm able to do it was because I paid my dues. I put in the work. I've done so much work at software companies. I've done so much work as a independent contractor. I've so much work getting clients and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of the times I thought, I'm never going to get to this point. And this is not where I want to end up. There's so many things I want to do after this. But this is kind of one of those, it's nice to stop and reflect about how awesome this is. One of the things I think about a lot was software development. And one of the things when I was doing my YouTube channel with the ad mob revenue and everything like that coming in, and the apps were doing really well, is that people would say, they would just say they want to have the overnight success. They just want to do that thing where they want to release that app that just makes loads of money, and they want it to be their first attempt, right? And and one of these things I thought, I get that too, because every time I release an app, I want it to be that runaway hit. I want it to be just awesome, right? But a lot of the times I started to realize over the years is that I've also done a lot of work to get to that point, right? And it's one of the things where when we got AI and stuff like that, it's like, it seems like all you have to do is just vibe code something, and then it's just going to be this awesome thing that just makes you millions. And a lot of the times, especially because of competition and everything like that, it's not that easy. If you've ever done work for software development, you know that a lot of the times what we do is we bang our head against the wall, figuratively, not literally, although maybe sometimes, just trying to solve a problem. Like, this code should work. This code should work, but it's not. And then you're up until the middle of the night to find some stray semicolon or some stray mark, or you make a wrong assumption and completely rewrite your code, and it wasn't even that to begin with. You spend a lot of time doing that, but every single time you do that, it might not seem like it, but you're putting in the dues. You're doing the work. You're doing that thing that makes you relevant. One of the things that makes me feel more comfortable about AI taking all of our jobs is that a lot of the things that I do well is being able to get a description of what a client wants, what somebody wants, and it doesn't have to be that accurate. I could take vague and turn it into concrete, where I know a lot of people who are just starting out in software, they need to ask all the questions because they're not quite sure. But when you're able to do that, to interpret, to add that bit of creativity into it, then you're golden. And that's one of those things that AI has trouble doing. You can't give AI vague requirements to get exactly what you want. Believe me, I've tried. But it's one of these things. You know, a lot of the times when I do stuff like this, well, like I can hear it like all weekend, and it's just, like I said, it's beautiful. And I'm thinking like, I can't believe me, Eric Wroolie, who grew up in South San Diego, the shy kid in school, is here on the French Riviera, just sort of, you know, sitting with a glass of wine on the beach. And I feel a bit guilty about it, but I put in the dues. Personally, raise the kids. Kids are all growing up. Financially, being able to get to the point where I can afford to do these kind of things, and just professionally, because I, in an industry where I can work wherever I want to, I can move. I have that portability and everything like that. So, anyway, I just wanted to show you guys a little bit about a little bit around Nice, because it's awesome. I hope let me know what you guys are doing, because it's one of these things. I know if you have kids and you have to look after them and all that kind of stuff, and you're not in a situation where you just travel a lot and stuff like that, I know it's not very difficult. But for those of you who are, you get to that point where your app revenue gets to that point where your client revenue gets to that point where you can move on, I highly encourage it. It's really nice, and it's one of those things that, the more I do this, the more I start to meet people who are doing the similar thing as I'm traveling. Other people are doing that, just working and traveling while they work, and it's really, really fun. Anyway, just wanted to say hey, and let me know in the comments if you do that, because if you do this kind of stuff, I want to know it. I want to, and then maybe we can even meet up someplace. That would be awesome. Anyway, that is it for today. That is it for this week. I think I'll try to do these things every week from now on. Famous last words. Anyway, that is it for today. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll talk to you next time.